Looks like we have a good crowd here today. Thank you all for coming to the 2016 Home Show again. Up here next at 12:30, starting right about here now, is Lisinby. I'm sorry, one more time. Kammie Lisinby. I am a horrible introducer.
Thank you.
But in any case, we have 200 things to throw away today and other life-changing hacks. And on the stage.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. This is so fun. I am from Seattle. I'm going to introduce you a little bit about who I am, what my company is about. We do service the Seattle, King County area. And raise your hand if you've ever seen the show Clean Sweep or Know Peter Walsh. That is kind of what we do on a much more reasonable scale. So we come into your home and we declutter it in one single day. So we try to work one room at a time. So today we're going to talk about meeting the experts, so who we are, and I'll introduce you to my team. The inspiration behind this business. So I launched this business 8 years ago when I quit my job on my lunch break, very politely and professionally, and I launched it on Craigslist right here in Seattle, and we've grown into a 6-figure business, and we service all of King County. The method of success. So what makes us successful, what makes us different from other professional organizers in the area, and some key things to know if you're interested in having somebody come to your home and organize. But I'm going to give you so many tips as I can in the next 45 minutes so that you can go home and tackle a room on your own, and it will be fun and no problem. You know, some of you are like, fun? No, it's not fun. I'm going to make it as fun as possible. Top 3 home areas to organize. So we're going to talk about the 3 main areas that I see the most in the home and how to organize each of them. 5 keys to getting organized. Anybody who knows working out is the hardest thing is getting your mind ready to work out. That first day of working out is the hardest. Same thing for organizing. You look at a room that is cluttered and you think, where do I even start? There's so much. How do I even get started? So I'm going to give you the 5 keys to getting organized successfully. And I'm going to give you a little bit of homework as well to help you get motivated and know which room to tackle and how to tackle it. So meeting the experts. My name is Kammie Lisinby. Again, I am here in the Seattle area, born and raised. I did live in Phoenix, Arizona for a little bit. You can see my dog Jack here in the corner. He flies with me, he hikes with me, he goes in the car with me. He is my best buddy. And you'll also see over here in this corner, I was a Seagull for the Seattle Seahawks back in 2006. The team, we have 3 team members. Julie Raymond is our senior expert lead organizer. We have Whitney. And Rachel is our newest member to our team. And we are always looking for new talent to add to our team and to expand our territory beyond King County into Pierce, Thurston, and Snohomish as well. So the inspiration for my business. So a little bit about how I got started. People ask, like, were you born with this? Like, do you have a sickness? Why do you like this so much? So back in 2008, I had a job working in the membership department, and I was just feeling the grind of that 9 to 5. I had no passion in it. I was just showing up to work. I hated waking up in the morning. I was just really not in a good place at life, and I wasn't even sure how to course correct that. So back in 2008, anybody remember Oprah's Live Your Best Life series? Anybody? Yes, that was hugely life-changing for me. So I would go home and I remember watching my Hour of Power is what I called it. And Oprah was doing her Live Your Best Life series and I saw Peter Walsh. And Peter Walsh at the time was all over the place doing his clean sweep where he would have a team come into their home. He would have 1-800-GOT-JUNK waiting in the driveway. And they would transform rooms in a day. And I just instantly thought, how cool is that? And does anybody do that in the Seattle area? Well, I didn't see anybody who was quite doing the transformation that he had done. So that is where my inspiration for the organizing experts came from. Another inspiration I had for my business, I didn't want to just charge by the hour. I didn't want to make a little difference. And little did I know that the clients I would meet along the way would forever change my life. Try not to get emotional about this. Woo, probably won't work. So I met a young woman who is 34 years old, and her husband had passed away of cystic fibrosis. And she had just moved out of her house, moved into an apartment, and her husband had passed away. And at 34, I think she was 34 or 36 years old, she was then a few months later diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 4. We were very similar in age, and life circumstances happened where she called me and she's like, Kammie, I don't know where to start. And that is when I realized that getting organized was so much more than just tackling a little bit of clutter. It's the life circumstances that happen. It's the people in our lives that pass away, and maybe we've inherited their items. Maybe we don't know where to start. Everything has a story or a memory. And so for me, she was my biggest inspiration of working with people and real life situations to understand that you can transform your life by getting organized. One of our greatest stories was that she allowed me to help her organize her bucket list, and we actually executed it. I never wanted to get tattoos. I just could never quite wrap my mind around that. And one day she was a lawyer, and she wanted to get a tattoo, and she wanted it on her wrist because she knew she was passing away, and she knew she could never get a job again if she got that tattoo in a visible area. So upon executing her bucket list and organizing it for her, we went to Bermuda and we got tattoos. Also another inspiration, so people often ask me, how did you find the motivation for this in terms of working with people? Because most of my experience organizing was with small businesses. I would go into each department and organize from the front desk all the way to the accounting department and their workflow system. So watching Oprah and Peter Walsh got my mind thinking, people need this in their homes. So the first person I thought of was my grandmother. We had a room in our home that was called the closed door room. You don't talk about it, you don't look at it, you don't speak about it, you just know it's there and you don't go in it. For her, it was an embarrassing room that we just didn't speak of. So this picture here is of our farm, which I am now renovating, and I'm going to show you a few pictures of what I'm dealing with. So I actually grew up in a hoarding situation. For them, and their story about clutter is generational hoarding. They came from the Depression. You don't get rid of anything, right? So how many of you out there know somebody that they have a lot of canned goods and items that can be fixed and they're not going to throw away? We all do. For my grandma, she remembers her mother actually breaking down their dining room table and burning it to keep warm, like an extreme situation. So as we're going along, you're going to learn also about the different personalities of clutter and why some people keep and do the things that they do in their home and how to move past that. So this is the Listenby farm. These are my grandparents. This is my grandpa and my grandma. And bless my grandma's heart, but she is just a little hoarder, and we're working on that little by little. But my first client was actually my grandmother, and we tackled that room that nobody speaks about or looks at, and that was very interesting. It was a back laundry room area where stuff just accumulated, and it was never really finished, and I think that was probably the biggest hurdle, because it was never a finished room. It was never painted. There were still studs you could see. The drywall was kind of weird. And so to strip all the clutter away and actually tackle the foundation of that room was a big part of the transformation. So here's the loveliness that I'm dealing with right now, renovating our farm. So around it you'll see random trailers and old, I don't even know what that was, like a lawnmower or something. And then at one point, my grandpa thought that aluminum was worth keeping for like all of time. And so we have a pile of aluminum and windows and various things. This over here is a picture of a car. My grandpa has maybe like 7 of them. But this car in particular is kept just in case something goes wrong with the El Camino, we can take parts from this one. So we have all kinds of really fun stories on our farm that we're working through, and little by little we're making progress. If you go over to organizingexperts.com and you click on our blog, you'll actually see a tree house that I made over. My grandpa built in 1993, and the staircase fell down in a windstorm. Well, this summer we picked the staircase back up and renovated the treehouse, and it's gorgeous. And it just took a little bit of cleaning and paint and a few new screws. So anything can really be transformed if you organize it and dress it up. This is our barn, which we're currently renovating on the farm as well. Another fun project. Oh, a quick story about this. So when my grandpa got sick, he asked me to come to the farm and help take care of things. Well, one of the biggest projects was kicking people out that had been there for 25 years. They were hoarders as well. So this barn was actually filled from top to bottom with stuff, no animals. So that was really fun. And then they also had 16 horses, which they never really did anything with. So clutter can come in all kinds of things, right? Can come in property, can come on farms, businesses. The good news is it's very easily fixable. It just takes a little bit of time and knowing where to start. This is our home that I grew up in. My grandpa built this house, A-frame. Don't bring a match to it because it might go up and smoke all the clutter, but we're working on it. So the method of success, so how we do what we do. The most important process for the organizing experts is coming to the home and meeting you, getting to know your story and your goals, because my goals may be different than yours. You may just want to be able to walk into the room and see the floor, where my goal would be much different. So we would come to your home and do a consultation. We would go over your packages and or the packages that we offer, as well as how long it would actually take. So giving you that realistic expectation of, okay, here's my mess. How long do you think it will take? We'll actually come out to your home for free and give you an assessment. Pricing and product ideas. So a lot of people think, oh, I have to buy all this stuff. No, we try to work with what you have and get rid of a lot of things. The success method that we have is to declutter, and then at the end of it, revamp any storage solutions that you may need, and then make a product list for you, but that doesn't come until the very end. Giving you a complete picture also of what it's going to take from start to finish. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, and why we come for a full day is because I want you to see a huge transformation. So if you head over to our booth, which is 1011, or you go on our website or Instagram, you'll see before and after photos. Most all of those before and after photos are of the same day. So we are able to make a huge transformation in one day. Method of success, always start with the front door. So if you're in your home, imagine yourself as a guest, whether you're stepping into your bedroom or you're stepping into a living room area. Always start with the front door and look at what is everybody else seeing. That's always a good place to start. So here's a before and after of a living space, and you can see before there's all kinds of various things. So what happens a lot of times is we start to find those things, and then all of a sudden we're in the kitchen and we're organizing the kitchen, and then we find something that goes to the bathroom, and we start organizing the bathroom, and then we look around and like, nothing's getting done. Now I just made a mess everywhere, right? So you want to start with the front door, and you start with the floor and the surface space. So if you can't walk into the room, that's priority number one. You want to start with the floor, organize the floor space, and then work on the surface space. Don't start pulling all the cupboard doors open and organizing that because you're just making more of a mess. Start with the floor and the surface spaces. Then you can go deeper into the organization of drawers and cupboards and things like that. So here's a kitchen space area, and again, this was probably completed in just a couple of hours, but you can see if you just buckle down and have the right steps, you can make a big transformation. Organized by large category. So if you're in a room such as this, like you can't even see there's a bed here. Can everybody see that okay? So in here, maybe she had just moved in. I'm not sure what the circumstance was, but you'll see like empty boxes. You'll see some clothing. A lot of this, you just start with that surface area and make big category items. So stay in the room, and you want to have clothes in one pile, boxes in another pile, garbage in another pile. Those are large category items to separate by. Then make decisions. This is probably the biggest part and successful part of getting organized. How quickly are you able to make decisions on your items? If you're holding a baby blanket and you're going down memory lane and you're like, oh, I remember when, and they were, oh, you know, if it takes you a long time to make that decision, that really slows up the organizing process. If you're able to make quick decisions on what's keep and what's go, that's going to give you the biggest transformation at the end of the day. And again, you can see kind of a bedroom area. This is the kids' room, actually. Raise your hand if your kids have a little trouble organizing in their bedrooms, or, hi, how are you? We often see this, and my thought and my professional opinion is that, see this little organizing chest here? We use those a lot. They're from IKEA. I think they're called an Expedite, and they're a cube system. So when organizing your children, the easiest and best thing to replicate is what are they already using at school? They're using bins and cubbies and hooks. So set them up for success at home. When organizing their bedroom or a mudroom area or artwork area, think about how they're doing it in the classroom already, and then implement a very easy system. If they don't have a system to start with, it's going to be very hard for them to maintain. Also, containing the items. Is it easier for you to remember where things are if you can see them, or if they're contained in, you know, some kind of decorative box with a label? For some people, they're very visual. They need things out in clear containers or organized in a way they can quickly find them. So learning your personality type is really key as well. Here's a garage space before and after. You can see that in this space we had some storage system, but we didn't have enough racks. We didn't have the right bins. So just by eliminating the clutter, getting rid of garbage, recycling, getting those large category items, and then using clear bins with labels really just clears that space up and gives it that uniform look in a garage. Haul out. So the biggest thing that we're known for is we actually take any donation items away the same day that we're organizing. We don't want to leave you with another thing to do and say, okay, Mary, here's all the stuff you need to now take to Goodwill, and all that stuff you need to take to the recycle, and all this you need to take to the dump. We don't want to leave you with that. We want to leave you with that complete transformation. So our organizers actually haul that away at no cost to you. Maintaining the space. So once you have a system that works for your personality, which is key. So if you're married or living with a partner, maybe they have a different idea of what organizing is compared to yours, right? And so learning to work with those personalities and also knowing your own. Are you a visual person? Do you like to shove things in drawers? There's all kinds of different personality traits that you can find out about at organizingexperts.com, and that will also help you contain and maintain your space. Top 3 areas of the home to organize. Anybody want to guess what they are? Bathroom, okay.
Bedroom.
Bedroom. Kitchen, kitchens are huge.
Garage.
Garages are huge, yes. So closets. Anybody have a messy closet or know somebody who might? Yeah. I just went through mine yesterday, so I'm guilty. I love shoes and things, so yeah, it happens a lot. Office. Office spaces, a lot of paperwork. Paperworks are really hard when knowing what to keep, where to keep it, how long do I keep my taxes, all of these questions, right? And living spaces, so the front room, the hallway, the entryway area, especially if you have kids and they're dumping their backpack and their toys all over the place, it gets a little crazy. So here's a closet before and after. Nothing came out of that closet, believe it or not. We actually worked with everything she had, and I'll tell you exactly what we did. The only thing that we did was we swapped out the hangers. So in your closet, you might have like dry clean hangers and wooden hangers and plastic hangers and all this kind of stuff. We streamlined that process by giving you the exact same hangers. For men like plastic hangers. They like to rip their clothes off or have it folded in a cubby. Women, those velvet hangers, are you familiar with those? You can get them at Costco. Those make a huge difference in your closet. You can get a box of them for like $10. And it gives you a third more space in your closet just by swapping out hangers. So that's a fun trick. And also we added bins for little items like scarves and socks. And just by adding bins and swapping hangers and folding, we were able to create that different space. And same here, she didn't have a system for shoes. It was just kind of a mess up here before. She already had all of the correct hangers, but you can see how it's not organized by length or by color. So that little trick also can transform your space down here when you organize everything by length and color. And also these shelving systems are very, very easy to install. We can install that the first day for you. And it just creates this beautiful shoe shelf so you can display them and have that dream closet for if you're on a budget. That's a quick fix. Here's an office space we did before and after. You can see here that she didn't have a desk. And the space was kind of funky and was full of stuff, and she was starting a home business. So what we did is we just separated and added doors to her existing shelving, popped in a really inexpensive IKEA desk, and then gave her a system which you can see here. She needed an inbox. She needed somewhere to pay bills. Just a very basic, easy system. But if you don't have that system, it can get a little crazy. Here's another office space that we've gone into, and this is more inventory. So for a small business owner, when things are coming in and inventory is lining up, how do you organize that? What is the system? Start with your foundation pieces. Give yourself a little work desk area, and then figure out what your storage solution is. This is a fun one. This is a living space. You can see there's a lot going on in here. And what this is a lot of people, they just need a place to dump things when they come in. So it just kind of gets dumped on the couch, dumped on the floor, and then they run away, and then they're like, oh, I just made a mess. So when organizing this space, again, you're just going to group those large category items. And again, we didn't take much out of this home or this space. It's just, in this situation, it was just, where do things go? What happened in here? Like, oh, there's a pillow. That doesn't go there. Oh, there's mail. That doesn't go there. So it's just figuring out where things go, and all of a sudden you got your room back. So you don't always have to buy an expensive storage solution or get rid of everything. That's the biggest question people ask is, oh, you're going to come in my home and get rid of everything. I'm like, no, not necessarily. It's just making sense of your things in your space. Again, this is a living area that wasn't really defined. She had this idea that, oh, I want to entertain people. I would love to be able to sit down and have dinner at my dining room table, but this is what I'm working with. And she had just moved in, but she couldn't quite envision her space, so she needed another set of eyes to look at the space and say, okay, what can I do with it? Well, what is a dining room to you? What does that entail? Let's get the chairs around. Let's get some placemats. I've also noticed that if you set up the space for its purpose, it's harder to put the clutter back. So if you have a dining room table, make it beautiful. Like you go to Pier 1 and everything's all shiny and gorgeous. They can't put any clutter on it because it is decorated for that purpose. 5 keys to getting organized. The first one, making time. So for those of you that work during the week, you have the weekend available. Don't say I'm going to take all Saturday or all Sunday and give yourself a whole day to get organized, because that's just very overwhelming. You can say, okay, Saturday I'm going to get organized and I'm going to give myself 4 hours to tackle this space. And 4 hours is a good chunk of time. We organize for 6 hours, but that's with professionals who are really hustling. So if you're trying to do this on your own, 4 hours is a great chunk of time to dedicate a room and a project. Get in the mood. So how many of you have heard of this best-selling book? I think it's the Code Method or something like that to getting organized. Anybody heard of this best-selling book? Thanks, Judy. It's out there and you don't need to get it. I'm going to tell you how to get organized without buying any products or books. I'm sure we all have books on how to get organized. Getting into the mood. So I really believe whatever gets you motivated, listen to your favorite music. Have a glass of wine, a glass. If you have more than that, it gets a little frazzled sometimes. But whatever gets you in the mood and motivated, like in your garage, if you want your husband to organize the garage, put on his favorite music, give him some beer, let him do his own thing. Same for us women. Whatever it takes to get you in the mood and get motivated. There's no right or wrong way. Just as long as you have a plan and a system and it feels right to you. Be uninterrupted. So for those of you that have a lot of phone calls, emails, kids pulling at you, and you're trying to get something done, make sure you give yourself time to be uninterrupted. So put that cell phone on silent and get to town. If you have children, make sure that they have childcare so that you can really manage that space and be dedicated to that time of getting things done. Time limit for organizing. So again, you want to limit yourself time. You don't want to try to tackle a room from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. and then you're going to look at the end of the day and go, wow, I got all that done, but now I'm exhausted and I never want to do that again. Give yourself limited chunks of time and even set a timer. I think that's fantastic. If you have a timer on your iPhone, or if you're in the kitchen, if you use your oven for a timer, make sure you just limit time to one specific project. Tackling a whole room also can be overwhelming. So start with a floor or a counter space or large category items and be done. If you're feeling good and motivated, then start to transform that room. Goal for the day. So this is really important as well, is that you want to give yourself a goal for the day. So today, I'm going to go throughout the whole house and I'm going to collect all the mail that somehow is in the bathroom and in my bedroom and in my laptop case and on the kitchen counter and in that junk drawer. I'm going to get all the paperwork from my home and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go through it and I'm going to get rid of all the junk mail and I'm going to do paperwork today. That's one goal. So you see how tackling a whole house or a whole room is very big and overwhelming. Give yourself a little goal and a little project. Check it off your list. How am I doing on time? Good? What am I at? Huh? 30 minutes? Yeah, not bad. Okay. So we're going to end with a little bit of time and we're going to have some Q&A, but here's the homework that I want to give you. Each of you have a handout. If you don't have one, for those of you in the back, you can get them up here on the corner. It's 200 things that we all have in our home. Little things, big things, but they're 200 things that you can immediately go home and check them off your list and get rid of. Your homework assignment are these questions, and feel free to write them down because they're going to help you get organized. What is your clutter story? Why do things get the way they do? Oh, my family's crazy. Well, okay, maybe, but what is the story behind it? I'm keeping this because, write it out. If it's, my kids are having a hard time getting their homework organized or their toys, like, what is the story behind the clutter? So if you get to know that root answer, that's really going to help you. What area in your life needs the most organization? Anyone brave enough to share what area in their house they need help with the most? Yes. No storage at all. Do you live in the city? Well, okay. Okay. And that we see that all the time, especially in Seattle. I don't know, but the houses were built like craftsman style and weird, and then when they built all these apartments and condos, it was also weird and no storage space. It's a Seattle thing, I think. But there's ways to go around that. You can have furniture pieces that function as something else, so maybe an ottoman in your living room. If you have children, this is a huge one. If you have children toys all over the living room area, maybe you need an ottoman that's very nice and decorative that serves one as a seating space, but two as a storage space. So when the kids' toys, you just dump them in the ottoman and now you have your living room back and it looks like an adult living space. But yes, finding storage solutions is a tough one. When are you going to make that happen? So, for those of you that are thinking about getting organized, maybe, March is a great time. It's spring cleaning. If you see the Oprah magazine, she's always doing a spring cleaning, getting organized issue for the month of March. So is Martha Stewart. She's all over it. When are you going to make this happen? Don't give yourself a year to do it. When are you going to make this one little change happen? I can do that this week, or this weekend, or next weekend. But give yourself a date on when you're going to tackle that situation. What will happen when you do get organized? So for some of you, this can be very emotional. One story I would like to share, and this happens all the time, so don't think you're alone. People have this idea of entertaining and having their family over, and they're so embarrassed of their space, like that's not going to happen. But they would love for it to happen. So that's a huge goal, is what will happen when you get organized? Oh, I can have my daughter over for dinner and she's not going to think I'm a disaster pants. Like, I would like that to happen. You think of getting organized as a thing to do, but it can actually be life-changing. It trickles down and affects all these things in your life, your personal life, and your work life. So some of you may be super organized at home and then you're disaster pants at work, or reverse, right? It's like, why can't I do that at home because I do it at work? A lot of times it's because they have a system laid out for you and you don't have that at home. And we need that foundational system. So what in your life will happen for you when you declutter and you make space? Write that down. That's hugely motivating. What opens up in your life? So same thing. What will open up in your life if you organize the space? So let's say that I've come in contact with people and clients that have a whole entire room in their house full of boxes and stuff and furniture. And they're like, oh, that's going to be the guest bedroom. Well, okay. In what lifetime? And how are we going to make this happen? So she's like, well, I want people to come over and I want to entertain, but I have this room floor to ceiling with boxes. First of all, you're so blessed that you have an entire room dedicated to clutter. Like, we can knock that out, right? We can blow up an air mattress and make that a guest bedroom. That's very doable. So you have this space to work with, but think about what will open up in your life by shedding the stuff. Okay, well that was my presentation. I'm going to open it up to any Q&A if any of you have questions.